From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Hannah Mordeau, and this is your News 8 Daily for Tuesday, April 14th. I apologize. I'm losing my voice, but I'm going to do my best here to get you the news that you need to know. This morning, breezy, warm. Highs could be a record-setting in 80 to 85 degrees. Watch out, though. There might be some storms tonight, especially north and northeast of Indianapolis.
Central Indiana. Wish TV is now live on YouTube TV and Hulu Live, offering more hours of local programming than any other station. Search for Wish TV or look for CW8 on both YouTube TV and Hulu Live to find us. Watch local news, sports, and lifestyle shows live from Wish TV. You can still catch Wish TV free over the air or stream it live on WishTV.com and on the free Wish TV mobile apps. Wish TV, available in more places for the latest news, weather, and sports.
Indiana's break from the gas tax is fueling some relief for drivers, but not for everyone. Governor Mike Braun suspended the use tax on gas last week. It's about 17 cents per gallon. Experts say that the suspension has helped lower gas prices, but it may not last. Gas prices have dropped since Wednesday, but not everywhere. AAA says the Indiana average gas price is now $3.91. One expert from the Indiana Food and Fuel Association says if a gas station near you has not dropped prices, there is a reason.
If a station had received a distribution of fuel prior to the executive order being signed, we have received authorization from the Department of Revenue to be able to continue to charge that tax because the retailer already paid the tax on that shipment of fuel.
Some drivers tell us that the tax holiday will help, but not by much. The tax suspension runs through May 8th. Governor Braun says he may extend it for another 30 days, but he has not signed anything yet. Governor Braun is working to increase housing construction in Indiana. He signed the law yesterday. He says the law requires local governments to evaluate barriers to new housing and report their progress. The law asks every city, town, and county in the state to hold public hearings this year on how to expand a housing supply. The governor says he is prioritizing affordability and that building affordable housing is essential to that goal. A $66 million plan to redevelop the old City Hall and help bring in more housing has been scrapped. City County Council approved the project in April of last year. The space would have been connected to a new tower that's part hotel and part housing. Now, though, the city says that final contract for the project will never come to fruition. The Department of Metropolitan Development says it will reopen requests for proposals for the old City Hall in late May. Now to the conflict in Iran. President Trump has issued another warning to Iran. It comes as the U.S. Navy is blockading Iranian ports, and there's no movement at the Strait of Hormuz. Despite that, it's still possible to see more peace talks after negotiations failed over the weekend. Sherelle Hubbard has the latest.
We can't let a country blackmail or extort the world, because that's what they're doing. They're really blackmailing the world. We're not going to let that happen.
President Donald Trump said Monday if a peace deal is not reached with Iran by the end of the 2-week ceasefire, that, quote, it won't be pleasant for them. This after the U.S. military set up a blockade on Iranian port traffic around the Strait of Hormuz as of 10 a.m. Eastern Monday.
Iran has said this blockade violates the ceasefire. But it's one thing to say that. It's another thing to start shooting.
In a post on Truth Social, Trump warned that the U.S. will sink any Iranian fast attack ships that come near the blockade, threatening they'll, quote, be immediately eliminated. Trump's comments come after U.S.-Iran peace talks in Islamabad, Pakistan, failed to turn out a deal over the weekend. But Trump claimed Monday that Iran had contacted his administration and said they would, quote, like to make a deal very badly.
His leadership of the war might as well be called Operation Epic Failure. The Strait of Hormuz, chaos. The Iranian regime still standing. Gas prices at the highest level in years.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said Democrats in the chamber would force a vote this week in an effort to rein in Trump's war powers. I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
A Purdue University alum played a major role in bringing the NASA astronauts back home. He was in the control room when Artemis 2 splashed down back on Earth from the historic mission around the moon. News 8's Alan Self spoke with him.
Jason Inslee told me all about teamwork, nerves, and what's next for NASA as it prepares to land humans back on the moon.
Splashdown confirmed.
Copy splashdown, waiting on VLDR.
A landing and recovery lead for NASA described the work that goes into an Artemis splashdown. Jason Inslee explained how his team prepares for every possibility.
Sometimes we simulate equipment failing, whereas it didn't actually break. We just, for instance, say, well, let's not utilize that one for this recovery run, and let's practice what would happen if come day for recovery, there is an equipment issue.
Inslee isn't shy about representing where he's from or what he's always dreamed of doing.
Growing up, born and raised in Indiana, I had always been a huge space nerd. I absolutely loved aerospace ever since I was a kid.
He went to Purdue and earned his master's degree at the college that he believes is the best place to be in his field.
Astronauts have actually come from Purdue. I mean, as you probably know, the most famous of which is, of course, Neil Armstrong.
Inslee still gets excited when speaking on their successful recent mission.
You know, priority number one is get the crew out and make sure they're back on board safety. Safety is number one.
Inslee says they're still working on collecting data from Artemis 2 and tells us what they have planned for the future.
The moon is an important stepping stone to the journey to Mars. So what's next is Artemis 3.
Inslee also has high praises for the astronauts he worked with on this project.
I only have great things to say about those astronauts. They're top tier people, smart as can be, very personable, and very caring, loving people. It truly was an honor to get to meet them leading up to it and to shake their hand after the return journey home.
The next mission is Artemis 3, expected to take off next year. Inslee hopes to help recover those astronauts too. I'm Alan Self for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
Our iTeammate has new details on a story we first brought to you Friday about a faith-based program for teens facing accusations of systemic abuse and neglect. A woman who lived inside the Lebanon facility says she endured years of abuse. iTeammate's Kara Kenny talked to her.
We've been pouring through this 33-page lawsuit filed last week against Central Indiana Teen Challenge. 9 women say as teens they were isolated, humiliated, and even physically assaulted between 2011 and 2018. We just talked with one of those women who explains why she's shining a light on this.
From the outside, it looks like a house. The Lebanon building is the Refuge Girls Academy, formerly known as the Central Indiana Teen Challenge. It's a faith-based program for teens struggling with drugs, alcohol, and mental health issues. Haven Murdoch says her parents sent her there when she was 13 years old because of depression and self-harm. She says she and other girls were forced to eat moldy, outdated food.
We had to finish our entire plate, regardless of whether you were sick or not, within 20 minutes. And so girls would often be shoveling their face with food and then puking in the trash can.
Haven is one of 9 women who filed a federal lawsuit saying they experienced systemic abuse, neglect, and forced labor at Central Indiana Teen Challenge.
If we tried to tell our family about how we were being treated there, then we were punished even more, oftentimes demoted, which would extend our stay.
The lawsuit says Haven and others were subjected to invasive pelvic exams prior to their arrival to check for pregnancy and STDs.
I remember crying the whole time. I cried the whole time. I did not know at the time that I was going to be sent to this place. So I didn't really know why I had to do it at all. I did not want to. I made that very clear.
Haven lived at the Lebanon facility from 2011 to 2014 and says she was placed in isolation for up to a month at a time.
You're just supposed to sit there in this empty room as they watch you on a camera all day and do absolutely nothing but stare at the wall. And I was placed in there for the longest time was a month.
What was that like?
It was horrible. It was excruciatingly boring.
Haven's attorney, Greg Laker, says the program's leadership claimed their rules were God's will.
They had a system of
threats and coercion to basically force compliance with the rules.
We reached out to the faith-based program, and their attorney tells us the complaint is comprised of allegations that are unproven and unverified. Our client will file a response to these allegations with the court as the rules allow and intends to aggressively defend itself against the claims.
I also got a hold of recent tax filings for the program. It shows more than $3 million in revenue a year, some of that through fundraising efforts. The women who filed suit say they were forced to do fundraising events. The I-team also checked with numerous state agencies, and we could not find anyone that provides oversight over these types of faith-based programs. We will continue to dig on this. Kara Kenny, I-team.
You will soon see 3 new players on the Indiana Fever. The team selected 10th, 25th, and 40th in the WNBA Draft last night. Their 10th overall pick is South Carolina point guard Raven Johnson. She is rejoining her former college teammate Aaliyah Boston when she comes to Indiana. Johnson won 2 national titles with the Gamecocks and made it to the championship game this year. Johnson is also this year's SEC Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, my heart is beating right now. It's beating so fast. But, you know, you dream of moments like this as a little girl. I mean, you watch people before you that get drafted, and just to hear my name called, it's a blessing, honestly.
She's a winner. I mean, she's won at every level. She's set the tone at every level. You know, she's immediately ready on the defensive end of the floor, which is something that we need.
This is the first time the Fever has had a first-round pick since Caitlin Clark 2 years ago. Fever has also added guard Justine Pissot, who is the team's 25th overall pick. Team also added their 40th overall pick, guard Jessica Timmons. The Fever's next season tips off May 9th against the Dallas Wings. Pacers star Tyrese Haliburton says his main concern in his recovery is not his season-ending Achilles injury, but instead his recent shingles diagnosis. Haliburton says he is still suffering from the shingles side effects on his face. He says it caused his eye to swell shut and caused him to lose part of his eyebrow. He says the diagnosis has significantly slowed his rehab timeline.
I have good days and bad days, but for the most part, it's bad days, so it has not been any fun. I'm still honestly dealing with it. I've been taking unbelievable amounts of medication to try to get rid of it. It hasn't worked. It's obviously caused me to gain weight and look a little bigger, and so that's been a topic of conversation through social media and stuff. But what can you do? But yeah, no, it's not been fun, and hopefully it goes away here pretty soon. It's hard to really tell. Nerve pain. I've been having nerve pain now for 2 months, and in the world of nerve pain, for people who've had that before, it's not very long. So I hope it goes away soon, but there's no way to really know.
As for his Achilles, Haliburton says he's doing everything now without limitations. Hey, the Colts Pro Shop at Lucas Oil Stadium is now closed temporarily. The team announced it yesterday, saying it's shut down for renovations. The updated Pro Shop will reopen just ahead of the Colts preseason in the fall. You can still shop, though, for Colts merchandise online. Just go to wishtv.com, look for the story, and there you will find a link where you can buy the Colts merch. This has been your News 8 Daily from Wish TV. I'm Hannah Mordo. Sorry about my voice. Watch us on Wish TV and wishtv.com.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go, connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.